Evan, let me start with you. I don't know if you're President Trump and you're listening to that sound in particular. Do you feel vindicated, as he had said he was yesterday?
I feel like I want to go out and tweet if I'm President Trump. Then the fact he didn't tweet is what's so remarkable about today. James Comey came out and accused the President of the United States of being a liar.
Yeah.
And what you have now is a he said situation. There was no smoking gun, as several Democrats thought there would be, where James Comey says the president tried to obstruct justice. He tried to put himself in a very unfamiliar position to him, which was of witness, not investigator and not prosecutor.
You know, this investigation is full of leaks left and right. I mean, we've learned more from the newspapers sometimes than we do from our open hearings, for sure. Do you ever wonder why, of all the things in this investigation, the only thing that's never been leaked is the fact that the president was not personally under investigation, despite the fact that both Democrats and Republicans and the leadership of Congress knew that and have known that for weeks?
I don't know. I find matters that are briefed to the Gang of Eight are pretty tightly held, in my experience.
I expect we'll be seeing this sound play a lot in Republican quarters. This was a good moment for Rubio and for Team Trump, and I think a pretty fair question, Evan.
Yeah, what Senator Rubio was trying to get at was, okay, we're seeing this systemic pattern of leaks coming out about the Trump administration from sources within government, but we're not seeing any sort of leaks saying that Comey actually was, or the president was telling the truth, that Comey had told him he's not personally under investigation in the Russia investigation. Rubio was trying to discredit both the press and the Democratic case that has been made. And he did a good job on that, because he does make one wonder, wait a second, we're seeing all of this stuff coming out, but nothing to confirm that the president is not currently in the crosshairs?
And why did you withhold that?
Yeah, I think Senator Risch was incorrect. I'm looking at a decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals from the 8th Circuit from 2008, which says hope actually is, so there is precedent that there's hope that people can say, I hope you do something. It's also in sort of the way you carry yourself and the tone of the conversation.
Sure.
So
and the
president,
fact that one of those people is a president.
Yeah, it's using influence. You don't have to say, I specifically order you. It's a lot harder to convict you of saying, I hope you do this.
It's context. But it's all about the context.
Let's not gloss over that very interesting revelation where he basically said that Loretta Lynch, then Attorney General, had asked him not to call the investigation into Hillary Clinton an investigation, to call it a matter. And that made him just as uncomfortable as some of these Trump requests. Evan, do you see any sort of backlash? I mean, all the bodies are dead and buried, you know? What happened?
Well, Comey did state that he had thought about having a special counsel for that moment, but he said it's nothing that could be convicted. And so I think that it was also a situation where the investigation was completed at that point, where she was saying, can you call it a matter and not an investigation? So it's a different situation than here, and it is apples and oranges, but it's still a very serious charge that was leveled. One thing I do want to go back to and note is that Comey, in comparison to Trump, has been very strategic from day one. He didn't give the memo directly to the New York Times. He had his go-between friend give the oral recitation. And then today, if you notice, he baited the hook by saying, Lordy, I hope the tapes exist, because he knows it's a he said fight. But if tapes exist, then that proves his side of the story in his mind, as well as he's baiting Congress to subpoena them. That was the key takeaway for me.
This notion that the president is new to this, Evan, I mean, is that an okay defense or like an awful defense?
That's a pretty bad defense. He basically, the Speaker of the House just said that Donald Trump is basically Jonah Ryan from Veep, so it's forgivable. He's guilty but not responsible, not really knowing the protocols. I'm already seeing pushback on the left to that notion.
Well, of course.
Because they are citing in June of 2016 when Trump attacked the tarmac meeting between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton and said that's not protocol, that's unethical. So they're saying there's evidence that Trump already knew this. I think the Speaker of the House, he is right where he talks about the frustration Trump has because of the Russia investigation. And we've seen some people take it a little bit to outrage level 11 when it's not warranted at this point. But I think the Speaker should not have talked about him being stupid, essentially.
I mean, good advice.
There's a small crack in Director Comey's credibility here, which we saw in the hearing, and it was raised. He talked about how after the Oval Office meeting on Valentine's Day, he told Sessions, do not ever let me in a room alone with him again. We can't have one-on-one contact. Yet he took the president's call on March 30th and April 11th in one-on-one settings. Why in person, or why would he not do it in person, but he would still pick up the phone?
Hold on, there's an answer to that. I mean, your boss calls you, the president of the United States, and you say, hold on a minute, let me get three people in the room.
It was one-on-one conversation.
You're so concerned about perception and reality of meeting one-on-one with this president that you take all of these notes. I think it's a fair point to say, why did you keep taking his calls?
It's a fair
and
point.
Why didn't you insist that either someone else was on the line or that the president go talk to Jim Comey's direct boss, the Attorney General?
It's a fair point, Essie, but it's an explainable point. My boss is calling me, I'm getting on the phone, and we're having said conversation. And so I think that's explainable.
I don't think Jim Comey did explain that.
Well,
I don't think he did explain sufficiently why he didn't. He was asked a number of times in a number of different ways why he didn't say directly to the president, you should not be asking me this, we should not be having this conversation, please don't have, you know, he didn't do any of that.
I think he explained it.
He said, you know, maybe had he been a little bit stronger or in the moment he was so stunned he couldn't, but he didn't really answer the question as why he took his phone calls again and didn't take other measures to protect himself.
He could put him on speaker. He said he was with the head of the DEA. Oh, speaker.
I just